You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Tuesday, April 21st. I'm Johnny Kahner. Thanks for listening to Four Things to Know. Let's get to your top story today. Will there be an upgrade for Uptown? Well, that's what Minneapolis leaders are hoping for today. And it comes just about a month after 100 concerned citizens lined up to share their thoughts on the once bustling neighborhood. Adam Duxter is in Uptown today, where a new plan is now in place, and he heard from Mayor Jacob Fry.
When it comes to the city of Minneapolis, perhaps no neighborhood is under more intense scrutiny than Uptown, because for years this was the place to be in the city, and our city leaders say they know it has lost some of its luster, and more so than that, community safety concerns are paramount here in this neighborhood. Year over year, we've seen increases in shots fired calls, assaults, car thefts, and more. But today, city leaders outlined their plan to, what they say, potentially try and make a difference when it comes to that, expanding on what the city calls its Community Services Ambassadors program. Essentially, what it will be is here in November, 8 city employees that will patrol Uptown, responding to a dedicated phone line that runs through the city's dispatch system. They say they'll respond to sometimes emergency calls providing life-saving care, but they say it's a more intentional and dedicated patrol than what they say some of the patrols we've seen with the community safety programs like the violence interrupters have been in the past. Here's what the city leaders, including the mayor, had to say about it this morning.
What's certain is that the Uptown of the future is going to be dramatically different from the Uptown of the past, but there are a few core things that need to be the same. One of them is the conviction that we need safety on our streets. People need to feel safe. They need to be safe.
And today we heard from the mayor, the chief of police here in Minneapolis, as well as the director of the Office of Community Safety. We even heard from council members and county board members. This is a massive collaborative effort, we are told.
Your second thing to know today. Today marks 10 years since Prince was found dead at his Paisley Park home in Chanhassen. This afternoon, there will be a candle lighting and moment of silence at Paisley Park. Prince was 57 years old when he died of a fentanyl overdose. The night he died, an impromptu gathering outside First Avenue in downtown Minneapolis drew tens of thousands of people to the streets. That's where they gathered to sing, share memories, mourn, but also celebrate Prince's life. And someone who had an unexpected front row seat to the celebration was a traffic engineer at the city of Minneapolis. His name is Tim Drew. He got the call from police, got there quickly, and the crowds, then he said, really started to get big.
And about 15 minutes later, he called me back again and said, well, I think we need to hood some meters for this because there's so many people over here. Called me back about 15 minutes later and said we needed some barricades. And then called me about a half hour later and said, you need to get down here immediately. There's a ton of people gathering around the Prince Star.
Drew is a Prince fan himself and says he was at work until after 1 a.m. that night. And to mark 10 years since the passing of Prince, a new song has been released. It's a previously unreleased studio recording from Prince's legendary vault. It was recorded in November of 1991 at Paisley Park.
With this tear, how they want, I long for you to talk to me like you did that night in the restaurant. You spoke of love so openly, and again and again you promised.
And if you'd like to hear more of the song, the video was posted to the official Prince YouTube page. And it says the song, which is called With This Tear, has been newly mixed and mastered. And it features everything from Prince producing, arranging, composing, and performing all the instrumentation. And shortly after the creation of this song, all the way back in 91, Prince actually offered the song to Celine Dion, who recorded her own version in 92. Now, the Prince account says this track is the beginning of a number of unreleased Prince recordings that are scheduled for release this year as part of a never-before-released Prince album project. Certainly be fun to check those out as those get released. Crazy that it's been 10 years. Number 3 today, out with the new and in with the old. That's what the city of Elk River has decided to do with the Minnesota state flag.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Now listen to this. Last night, the Elk River City Council voted to fly the old Minnesota state flag instead of the new one. The mayor of the city said more than 1,000 people weighed in, and about 75% of the responses were in favor of flying the old flag. It followed a public hearing earlier this month where residents packed the room to share their view.
My family is buried in this state, and this flag represents our state.
Flying the official flag shows respect for statewide decisions and avoids creating unnecessary division over something that's already been decided.
We, the people, did not vote on this. We appreciate our heritage. We would like to respect it.
Elk River follows Champlin, Zumbrota, Plainview, and others in reverting back to the old state symbol. Some Elk River City Council members say they don't feel Greater Minnesota was actually represented through the redesign process back in 2023. The mayor believes more rural communities will actually make the same choice that the city did. Number 4 today, are you planning a summer getaway? Don't look too soon at those prices or you might actually change your mind. Yeah, if you're planning a trip, you may want to act fast. Airfares are rising and they're going up quicker than usual because of the war with Iran. Jet fuel prices are spiking worldwide and airlines are already passing those costs on, meaning higher ticket prices and fewer deals. WCCO spoke with travel expert Clint Henderson today.
In a normal market, fuel surcharges and the price increase from jet fuel gets passed on to consumers very slowly. Not this time. So almost immediately when jet fuel started jumping up, you heard the major airlines saying that they're going to have to raise prices.
Henderson went on to say that some summer flights are already 10 to 20% more expensive, and airlines are also cutting back on the number of flights. WCCO's Derek James is actually looking into this story today for us, and he says one major airline has an edge. It's Delta. They actually own an oil refinery in Pennsylvania, but he's digging into if that actually benefits travelers and how far you should actually be booking now due to the rising prices. So he's looking into this for you today. We're going to have more tonight on WCCO TV, and you can always get the latest on our website, WCCO.com. Those are the 4 things to know today. Let's check in now on our next weather forecast.
Hi, I'm next weather meteorologist Lisa Meadows. Your forecast for tonight, pretty nice, down to 48 as we head into the overnight low tomorrow, into the 80s. High temp coming in at 86 for a warm and dry Wednesday.
And now, here's more to know.
A convicted murderer was forced to his fate yesterday after he was a no-show at his sentencing hearing last Friday. David Wright was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder of Mariah Samuels. That murder happened late last year and just minutes after Samuels posted about the abuse she was facing from Wright. And yesterday, emotions ran high as family and friends reacted to the sentencing. We heard from Bonita Adams. She's Mariah's mother.
No amount of time brings my daughter back, but I am relieved that the perpetrator, David Eugene Wright, will never be able to destroy a family member's life again.
Following the murder of Samuels, Minneapolis police retrained officers on how to handle domestic violence cases. Police Chief Brian O'Hara also vowed to implement reforms to respond faster to cases like this one. Well, you certainly remember all that severe weather we covered last week, and today we have a good reminder for you in case severe weather is in your neighborhood. 2 Minnesotans escaped a tornado with just seconds to spare. Yeah, it happened in Stewartville on Friday. 2 friends hustled to the basement after the wind outside intensified, and less than 20 seconds after getting downstairs, a tornado smashed into the home, collapsing the ceiling right above where they were seated. So we spoke with homeowner Julia Batson.
We hadn't even seen the footage until later that night. So I didn't even know, we didn't realize how close we were. Like if we didn't have the video footage, we would have never known how close we really were.
I can't even imagine. The video is crazy. And just a reminder, we are on YouTube right now, so you can see all of the video we're discussing in the podcast every day on YouTube. But this tornado, it was one of 9 that hit Minnesota this month. And in Wisconsin, 23 tornadoes have already touched down this year. Crazy, crazy stuff. I'm glad everyone was okay. Let's get to local politics now. Some state lawmakers are concerned over the cost of a new office to fight fraud. The Office of Inspector General would serve as an independent watchdog to stop fraud before it happens. And a new analysis shows it would cost more than $15 million to start the agency. And that's a concern for some at a time when the state's finances are tight. That's what Democratic Representative Ginny Clevorn says.
I think as we look at this fiscal note and as we look at the bill, we need to be really clear-eyed about what we're asking this agency to do. And I think we have to be really clear-eyed about the stomach that we have for truly funding this office.
Lawmakers are hopeful that they will reach a compromise before the session ends in just under a month. Ever since the launch of the Artemis II mission, space travel has been on the minds of many. And at a design studio at the University of Minnesota, students are working on solving problems for NASA's future astronauts. The university's School of Apparel Design has students collaborating on projects tied directly to human spaceflight. They're contributing ideas that could one day influence how astronauts move, work, and even survive in space. We spoke with student Jean Lee.
The thought that anything that I do might make it into space or maybe, be one of the stepping stones somebody else can improve our space exploration is really, really exciting.
Yeah, that's got to be really exciting. And the partnership between the university and NASA, it actually dates back to 2012. That's when the school's wearable technology lab began collaborating with engineers at Johnson Space Center. And later this month, students will present their designs at the Johnson Space Center so NASA engineers and industry leaders can get a closer look. Here's another story that might get you thinking. Age is just a number, right? Well, actually, not exactly. That's according to longevity experts. Listen to this. Our chronological age is how old you are based on your birth date. Everyone knows that, of course, but your biological age is actually based on cell aging. That's a measure of the wear and tear on your body. So your biological age can actually be improved with healthy habits. CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. John LaPook spoke to CBS Mornings about the research into lowering that age.
We're on the cusp of it. There's all different people who are saying our company has the best measure of your biological clock. And yes, it may be that you can go in and have a company tell you what your biological age is. Right now, we are not at the point where we say, okay, this is your biological age, and you should take this in order to make things better.
He went on to say that some ways to lower your biological age include avoiding stress and getting plenty of sleep. Gonna have to work on that. Yeah, I don't think mine's gonna be too great. And this is why the Wild kept me up so late. Let's get to sports right now because unfortunately we have to. So the Wild are tied 1-1 in their playoff series right now. They lost last night in Dallas 3-2. Now it was a really hard fought game, but a lot of fans were pretty mad about some penalties Wild players took, and there's a fluky goal that went in. We will come back home, though, with a split. Not the worst thing. So Game 3 tomorrow night is at 8:30 in St. Paul. Let's hope they can get back on track. But let's get to the good news. I also stayed up for this, and it didn't end till really late. The Timberwolves, they tied up their playoff series last night with the Denver Nuggets. That's exciting. Now, listen to this. They were down 19 points in the second quarter of Game 2, and I'm sure plenty of you listening did not stay up. It didn't end till like 1 a.m. But the Wolves able to even things up at halftime, and then from then on, it was a close game. But really, Anthony Edwards, with his banged-up knee, he still had 30 points. Julius Randle had 24, and the Wolves win by 5, 119-114. And after the game, we heard from Ant, and he talked about how he is feeling coming off his recent injury and just trying to play through it.
It's been like a month and a half since I played basketball. I missed it. It's the most fun I have in my entire life. So just being out there, man, I'm enjoying every moment, no matter how I feel. So it's good.
Game 3 is at Target Center. That's on Thursday. So we're going to have Wild tomorrow, Wolves on Thursday. Should be another fun few days of sports. And now we got to get to football. Yeah, Day 2 for the Vikings offseason program. Most of the team is actually in the building. And these days, it's the first chance for Justin Jefferson to catch passes from his new quarterback, Kyler Murray. And Jefferson says he is really intrigued at the idea of playing with Kyler since Kyler is so mobile. You might have seen clips of him from his days in Arizona. I mean, he really is one of the fastest quarterbacks in the league. He might actually be the fastest. But Jefferson said that might open up some opportunity downfield for him.
It's a little bit different. You got to have a little bit more people in that box, a little bit more people kind of eyeing them down. Might have a quarterback contain, quarterback spy. So kind of all of those things kind of playing a part into those defenses and kind of allows us to, on the back end, go against those DBs and safeties and not have to rely on a whole bunch of double teams.
Last thing in sports today, the Twins are in New York taking on the Mets. This is pretty funny. So the Twins have lost 4 in a row. You might think that sounds bad. Yeah, not great, of course. The Mets make it 11. Yeah, both teams combined 15 straight losses in a row. This might set the record of extra innings tonight because it seems like no team wants to win. Let's hope the Twins can beat the Mets. You don't want to lose to them. They've lost 11 straight. Come on.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
And this is such a nice story. I had to revisit it today in our Bright Spot. An update for you on the inspiring duo that raced yesterday in the Boston Marathon. Yeah, I mentioned this yesterday too. It was the Minnesota team of Moses Cooper and Mark Halsey. They made it up Heartbreak Hill and beyond. Now, you'll remember Moses has cerebral palsy and is in a wheelchair, and Mark pushed him all 26.2 miles. Isn't that incredible? And they did a great job. They actually finished 8th in their division. And I couldn't even believe this when I read this morning. They ran the marathon 3 hours and 24 minutes is all it took them. 7:47 a mile. They were using the Flash superhero as inspiration. They took home 8th, like I said, among wheelchair duos. I mean, it really is incredible, and it speaks to what you can do if you're motivated to do something and help another person. It's such a great story. I'm so happy for them. I mean, imagine that experience for Moses running the Boston Marathon with Mark. Just really, really cool stuff. We have a bunch of pictures you can check out on our website. But congratulations to those two. I'm Johnny Kahner. Thanks so much for listening today. This has been 4 Things to Know. We are here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock. This was a fun one. Let's do it again tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. Enjoy that sunshine.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.